Before starting the video, there's a question that Liverpool fans has, that whether Mo Salah is the reason for this tactical collapse that happened at Liverpool or not. In this video, we're gonna give you the answer. So stay tuned and let's get in. Today's episode is quite different. It's like me, I'm imagining that I'm Mo Salah, but in reality, I'm El Capitano. The same thing with Arne Slot. He thought that he's implementing his system with a high press and position, but turned out he wasn't doing neither of them. So, in this episode, we'll expose Arne Slot. I will begin with the gaps, and the team is now moving as a unit. This is the biggest issue, that the team is no longer moving as one unit. When the defensive line doesn't shift together, this means the whole system is collapsed. And we could see this happened in Manchester City's game when O'Reilly had the ball and he was facing 1-versus-1, and there was a massive gap between the defense line and the midfield, and O'Reilly was able to give the ball to Doku, and Doku finished it in the goal. This explains a lot. With the biggest problem is that the whole team is not moving together. The reason behind this massive gaps is the high line exposure. By holding a high line without a synchronized press, Liverpool is leaving massive space for direct long balls. We saw this happen with the second goal for Manchester City when Nico Gonzalez was able to send a long ball to O'Reilly. Beside those two problems, Liverpool has a flank problem. So when the opponent is on the flank, the defenders aren't closing down enough. As we could see in Manchester City's first goal, Robertson's failure to press Nunez for the Holland's goal is a symptom of a larger issue. The distance between the midfield and the back line is now too large. Now I want to take a moment and talk about the pivot hole that happens in the midfield, especially when Liverpool loses the ball and the opponent was able to bypass the midfield. Virgil van Dijk. Virgil van Dijk is always isolated with the striker 1-versus-1, which gives the opportunity for the attacker to have an advantage and be able to score. We've seen this repeated so many times in this season. Sometimes it happened with Bradley against Manchester City's game when he was facing Doku 1-versus-1. The fourth defensive problem that Liverpool struggle with is defensive marking gaps. Let's look at this example. Even when Liverpool has a numerical advantage inside the box, the defensive line often suffers from a lack of spatial awareness, a tight marking. This creates pockets of space where opposition players can find unmarked opportunities despite being surrounded by defenders. Normally, Liverpool has enough players to cover the back, but they fail tracking active runners, leading to unmarked player who can score the goal, leading to unmarked header chance from the opponent. This proves that Liverpool defenders, they're counting on each other, but nobody is doing the work. It shows how the backline is very fragile, especially identifying who's responsible for the second ball. And we saw this repeated in the set piece, which we're gonna get into in a bit. I just want to take a moment and thank you for being here. If you enjoy this type of content, make sure you subscribe, because this upcoming year we're going crazy with tactical breakdown for Premier League, La Liga and Champions League. Therefore, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it all. Now we could move to the next point. Despite having tall players like Van Dijk and Konate in the center back. Liverpool struggled with set pieces. They conceded so many goals from set piece, such as the goal that they conceded against Crystal Palace. This shows their fragility in set pieces. And their problem with the set piece is not just the first wave. They have a problem with the second wave as well. The problem isn't always the first header, it's what happens next. The team fails to react to the second wave, often clearing the ball into dangerous areas where unmarked opponent is waiting. And we've seen this situation repeated so many times this season. I just brought this example to illustrate how Liverpool struggles with the second ball, or as they call it, the second wave. We could say that we covered some of the defensive problems that Arne Slot's team struggle with this season. But it doesn't mean this is all the problems. There's some other problems defensively we couldn't cover due to the limit time. So right now, I want to move to build up problems and how Liverpool's build up is so predictable. We've seen that in so many games. I want to highlight some problems happened during Manchester City's game. The first problem with the build up is the right side bias. Teams now know that Liverpool heavily prefers building up attack through the right side. This makes their vertical passing lanes predictable and easy to block. Although we've seen so many times that Robertson, when he plays as a left back, he opens up and requests for the ball. Nobody gave him the pass. As we could see in Manchester City's example, you could see that Van Dijk is pointing at Robertson, but Konate chose the hard pass. He played a long ball to Bradley's side. I don't know why the team was insisting to build up from the right side. Maybe because Mo Salah is there. But if there is an easier option, you could do that. And will give a better chance to have a fluid build up and create more chances. So teams understood this point and played man-to-man with Salah. So when he receives the ball, he would be marked man-to-man with a player. He wouldn't have so many options or the time to think where to send the ball. Mo Salah being understood and all the tactical heaviness on Mo Salah is taking us to the final point, which is throwing Mo Salah under the bus.
Couldn't believe it. What couldn't you believe? I'm sitting on the bench for 90 minutes. I think that's the third time I'm in the bench. I think it's my first time in my career, but I'm very disappointed. I'm very, very disappointed, to be fair. I have done so much for this club. Everybody can see that during the years and especially last season. Sitting on the bench, I don't know why. Seems like a club is throwing me under the bus. That's how I feel it.
Yes, Mo Salah this year, he's not in his best shape. Probably he has problems in the field. But not all the problems is Mo Salah, because the whole team and the whole tactical system is failed. Not because only Mo Salah. Mo Salah has been carrying Liverpool for the past 8-9 years on his shoulders. Honestly, I've never seen him with this performance at Liverpool. But Arne Slot tried to take all the blames from him and his tactics and throw it at one person who is other than Mo Salah. This guy deserves respect because whether you like it or not, Mo Salah is the legend for Liverpool and brought you 2 Premier Leagues, which you weren't able to bring in the past 30 years before Mo Salah comes to Liverpool. And now I know Arne Slot tries to contain this problem, but this problem should have not happened from the beginning, because legends must be respected. And with this, I'll end this episode. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and give us that like button. Peace.